special education. We spend about $25.7 million in special ed. That expense is going to go up by $3.2 million next year, for a total of about $29 million that we expect to spend in special education in our next year's budget. Charter schools. You know that we have 3 charter schools that we're responsible for. If a student, if the resident lives in Hempstead and they attend either Roosevelt Charter School, Evergreen, or the Academy, we're responsible for that expense. We spend $12 million this year. We expect that to go up to about $13.7 million. So that's a $1.7 million increase in expenses just for charter schools. Salary step increases. Every year, our staff, our contract staff, they go up a step. We anticipate that expense to be about $900,000 next year. Capital projects, as Dr. Garcia mentioned, we did the gym floor at the high school. We anticipate doing additional capital projects to improve the facilities next year in the neighborhood of about $1.4 million. Health insurance. We cover our employees with health insurance. As we know, the premiums are going up, the premiums are not going down. That expense this year is $17.2 million. It's going up to about 17.7, an increase of $500,000 next year. And retirement contributions, ERS, TRS, that's going to go up by another $400,000 in next year's budget. And then, lastly, a bunch of expenses that we lump together, building expenses, equipment, supplies, BOCES, that's in the neighborhood of about $5.6 million for a total of about $12.7 million. So see, these are some of the significant expense increases in next year's budget. So this next slide shows what we did to offset that. $12 million, we couldn't put that on the taxpayers, so we had to come up with a way to reduce that $12 million. We took a look at transportation. We were charged by the Board of Education to see where we could come up with savings. We transport about 1,600 students for an expense of $8.5 million. When we compare that with other districts, that's extremely high. So we did a survey and we realized that we can do some consolidations and have some savings of about $2 million in next year's budget. Pre-kindergarten. Now this is a proposal, it's not set in stone, but the proposal is, there's going to be a proposal out there to see if we can operate our pre-K program more efficiently. We spend about $1.9 million in our pre-K program, but we offset that. The pre-K, we get a grant, but we exceed the grant every year. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and stay within the confines of the grant, so that way we don't go over what the grant allows.
What does that mean?
What does what mean?
They're just going to what? Reduce the program?
Not reduce the program. We're going to still offer the same programs. So we're just going to see if we can do it, if we can outsource it, so that way it can be done more efficiently.
Outsource it, mean contract it out to someone else?
But that's a proposal.
That's a proposal. Pre-K.
And that's going to be determined before the budget vote the month from now?
Mrs. Bracelet.
I mean, you're pretending it like he's the instructional person, that's why I'm asking.
Well, I'm answering it now. Pre-K is important to us. Pre-K is important to this community. It is moral imperative that we have a pre-K program in our community. But as I said before, the challenge that the board is faced with is offer quality program, maximizing taxpayers' dollars. The pre-K program is a wonderful program. I think it's having the best year this year and last year. Outstanding principle that we have there. But it's not a mandate. And so as we look around and look at choices that need to be made, and there's some hard choices that need to be made. As you will see, Gerard just explained to you that there are $12 million that we need to come up with. $12 million. We have to come up with $12 million. The choices would be, do we go beyond the tax levy and present that to the community to obtain $4 million? Or do we look internally at what are the efficiency savings that we can obtain? And that's what we start doing first. As you can see, we're presenting transportation. as one of the areas that we saw that we really can do some restructuring in transportation and obtain some savings without affecting the classroom. We also look at the pre-K program. If you look around school district, pre-K is a program that has stopped in some other school districts. I think Baldwin doesn't have it anymore. Actually, it's one of the last schools that don't have it. Other school districts, what they have done is contracted out, and we're able to maintain it in the district for the amount of money of the grant. So the possibility for us is still to maintain the program in the district, serving the students in the district, serving our community, but for the same amount of money of the grant, and for us not to be able to put close to $9,900,000 in the budget, because that will be reduction in staffing if we have to continue. So that's the proposal at this particular time.
So then you expect to do this in a month, trustees? I'm asking the trustees now, because this is April. This is not January when you start the budget process. So are you talking about privatizing pre-K in a month? Is that what we're going to be voting on? And is there a committee looking at that? Are we talking about the Head Start? Who are we talking about? Is this somebody's friends we get ready to?
Hold on for a second. I can answer that. This is how,
in a month.
let me explain how the process works.
I understand how the process works. That's why I'm asking, why are we just hearing about this a month before the budget vote? This should have been discussed in January, December last year. So is that what we expect? And I would like to speak, excuse me, Superintendent, to the trustees. What is the expectation here?
Everything is that we're presenting to you now, and whatever you come up with later, then you will know about it.
Correct, but are we going to know as a community before you give our pre-K program to somebody's friend? Because this is not, you don't do this a month before the budget vote.
Okay, Mrs. President,
Not a month.
I think we need to clarify something.
Yeah.
I want to clarify. On my watch, I don't know what you're talking about, Frank, but we will follow the appropriate process. And there's a process that is followed, that Freeport has followed another school district, and the process that is appropriate in the state of New York.
A month before the budget
Let me explain to
That's
you.
what my question is about. A month before we vote on a budget, you're telling us, or your assistant business manager, that we are going to see savings by sourcing out our pre-K. Is that what's in your budget proposal? Or are we going to keep our pre-K, or will the community get some input into who we sell our pre-K program to?
Well,
That's the question.
first of
With
all,
all due respect.
if you let me explain to you
Well, if you would
first.
give us a real answer, what's your?
You haven't let me speak.
Okay.
If you let me speak, I can give you an answer.
Please, when that makes sense.
First of all, there is a process. And can the process be done in a month or 2 months? Definitely yes. In the state of New York, right here on Long Island, there are several organizations that are doing the pre-K. You have Head Start, you have St. John's, you have Family and Children, you have BOCES, you have SCOPE. The process is that it has to be announced in the newspaper. And it has to be in the newspaper for how many days? 15 days?
The opening of an RFP.
How many has to be in the newspaper?
Minimum
Minimum of
of
10 days. You have to be in the newspaper for a minimum of 10 days in the newspaper. And you have to be with a specification. Once it's in the newspaper, then there's a date set for opening. And so the process is everyone that is qualified has the opportunity to apply. So it's in the newspaper for everyone in the United States that meet the qualification to apply. So this is not something that's going to someone's friend. It's open, it will be Newsday and all the local newspapers.
Should it happen before the budget vote or after?
It cannot happen before the budget vote because the board has to approve the budget. So these are proposed decisions, so nothing is in stone, the board has to approve it. So this cannot happen before the board approves it.
No. When we vote on the budget in May, or the third Tuesday in May, will we be voting for a district pre-K program, or will we be voting for an outsourced pre-K program?
When you vote on the 15th, you don't vote for a program, you vote for the budget. What we're explaining to you is the efficiency savings that we're putting in the budget. So when you, sure, so if the board approves, if the board, I don't know what, if the board approves this proposal,
Right.
Either pre-K will be in or out.
It says that we are saving $815,000. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Brandon, you're a trustee, can I ask you, what do you think you voted on? When you approved this budget with the 1.98% cap?
I'm doing with the proposal because I need to make sure I get it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So is the proposal that you were agreeing to, when you vote on this?
Yes.
That we will be outsourcing
For
pre-K?
the RFP.
Well, an RFP for pre-K, correct,
So
yes.
that's what's in the budget, that's in the proposed budget. So why don't you
So
say
it's in
that?
the budget.
All right, that's what, is that what we want to know, or is it just me? I'm sorry.
No, I want to know that too. That's what I was saying. Is it in the budget or is it out of the budget? You know, why would you vote on it if it's not in the budget?
Okay, let me also say, the proposal, the other proposal can also be, let's put it back in the budget. I will add $815,000 to the budget. That will mean an increase in the tax levy, and that will mean that the tax levy will have to go beyond 2%.
We have to cut from other areas.
And we'll have to cut, or we can cut from other areas that we will have to continue to cut personnel.
Right.
Okay, that's why I was going to ask you to cut personnel. So what happened to those people from pre-K?
If you, the teachers from PK will come into the system. They will move into the system, right?
Then what you gonna,
And then some others.
then you would have to get rid of other people.
Sure.
So it's a
Do
circle.
excess however many people that is, unless the teachers get together like they should with the parents and petition for a charter school and then convert it and do it that way.
Okay.
There are other options which in other communities where they respect the community, there are actually committees and meetings where this is discussed. You don't hear this at the budget.
All right, okay, Ms. Brazen, all right, see, we're having a community meeting, not, you know, a back and forth, like, we understand. No, Ms. Brazen, you spoke, let me speak.
But we do want to
Let me speak, and we're answering the question, but I would love for us to be respectful and let the presentation go through first, and then save the questions later. Save the question, Ms. Brazen, can you do that for me? Can you do that for me, though? Can you do that for me?
We need to understand. Now, did anybody understand?
I did.
Before the 10 minutes.
Okay, but let me also say one thing too. Let me say one thing too, Ms. Brazen. But it's not outsourcing because New York, pre-K is not a New York State mandated program.
You ain't who's
It's not, Ms. Brazen, but what we're doing is the first word, efficiency. Being efficient. Because we want to make sure that the kids still have, in Hempstead Village still has the program. We still have the program. So we're making sure that pre-K is using within the grant,
That's not.
and we're being efficient, because we're gonna keep on going over $800,000 every year. You want us to do that?
That's not.
You want us to keep on going over $800,000?
No, I want.
When we have Governor Cuomo saying you gotta have a 2% cap.
No,
When you have it,
put your thinking cap.
All right.
Give us something that's meaningful for
Ms.
our
Brazen.
community.
Can we please have a copy of the budget so we can go
Yes, that's
through it?
what I-
And we're
yes.
waiting till the end of the meeting. We need, some of us need
they
to
were
read
making
it.
some more copies too, so.
You know, everybody should have.
Different documents that are available up there.
Mr. Garris, can you bring it in, Mr. Garris? Mr. Garris.
When I first came in here, I asked the gentleman for a copy of the budget because typically,
And we're making some more copies. More people here, this is definitely a lot bigger than it was last year, so we're making some more copies.
So
And
they
it's
were
coming out.
counting on nobody's comment.
Yeah.
Oh, we're definitely was not.
But anyway,
Can I be recognized, please?
Please, one at a time.
That's a,
Can we please just finish it?
Thank you.
And get the paperwork and, you know, if it's outsourcing, if it's cutting back, we just get the whole picture. And then we discuss it, and each of us have our own questions that we have. And with this, please, for the sake of the children in the house and those ones who need to go home, because many of us late this morning, we just want to see the whole picture first.
no problem.
And then we take our notes.
Thank you.
Let's continue with the
Take our
presentation.
notes and then have our
You better have
discussion.
Okay, I believe the next item is, reduction in staff, where we're saying,